Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everyone? Here we are again. I have Mark from the awesome band Goalkeeper on the show with me today. How you doing, Mark?
Good, man. How about you?
I'm doing great. So I do this a lot. I'd like you to tell everybody, the first thing you're going to tell people is, with all the genres that are out there, what genre would you fall under or label your own band?
I would say pop punk, if I'm being just like straight to the point. We dipped into a lot of different variations of punk and even some like more alternative type genres for like the new record that we just tracked. But at the core, it's still very much a pop punk record.
All right. Yeah. I don't want to do it myself and tell people, I feel it's pop punk, what's already out there. But, if I say it, then you could be like, hey, asshole, it's not pop punk. It's more alt punk. And then, there's all these different genres that you get labeled under, and then people get pissed off because I don't know how many are out there nowadays. So,
yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like the lyrics with songs, you know what I mean? Where I always just like people are just going to generate their own meanings regardless what you tell them. So it's like if someone wanted to say like, "Oh, you guys are like new age punk in my eyes," like, all right. Like I remember one of the first comments when we released our first song ever. Someone was like, "This is like if Matt Shadows started a punk band," and I was like, it's kind of early Avenged Sevenfold, which we're not that talented. But you know what, man? If that's what you relate us to, and you're listening to it because you like it, cool, go for it. Let's ride.
Yeah, we'll be whatever you want us to be.
Yeah, whatever your heart desires.
So why don't you tell me a little bit how Goalkeeper came about? I know it was a bunch of guys looking to do something from, being in other bands and needed something to do. Why don't you expand and let me know how this all started?
Yeah, so I used to book shows a lot in Philadelphia. Like I was the kind of the guy that, the smaller touring bands would hit up to get shows. And our drummer Cody, his band and like my old band, we were friends. So when I needed a local, I'd always hit him up. And then he introduced me to our singer Ryan and his old band when I needed like another local. And so we became friends, like all three of us. When all the bands would hang out, like us three were the ones talking and hanging out together and even talking like outside of shows and music and everything. And to make a long story a little bit shorter, I had a show. I needed a band. I couldn't find another local because Ryan's band couldn't play and Cody's band was already playing. And at that point, I haven't played a show in like a year and a half. So I was telling Ryan, I was like, I would love to do just like a pop punk cover set. Like, let's just do the most on the nose pop punk songs we can think of type deal, And Ryan was like, dude, I'm down. Can I sing? And we're like, hell yeah, dude. Like, we loved your voice in your band. And then we asked Cody to play drums since he was already playing the show, and he already knew all the songs anyway that we were playing. So it was just like, hey, let's just practice once or twice to get into the groove and then go. And we ended up having a lot of fun with it, and it went over really well. And ironically, like after that show, Ryan's band and Cody's band essentially disbanded.
Was it your fault?
Yeah, right. We were so good. They were it was just lack of commitment. And I think all three of us, we always knew we wanted to be in a more committed band and like tour and record good records and stuff like that. But we didn't really know how, but we just knew the people we were with in our old bands weren't necessarily the ones who were going to get us there. Like we needed to be in a band with people we could grow and like learn with and not feel like we're being held back because of like hey, dude, like I want to be in this band, but I need to take a full-time job with a salary, because I'm getting married or I'm having a kid or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so we were like, well, you guys, if we're all out of bands and we had fun, let's just be in a band. And at first we didn't take it very seriously just because all of us got out of like trying to be serious. So like, we're like, yeah, let's just joke around, just make some funny songs. And then they actually kind of like caught on with people and we were surprised. And then we started to get some opportunities that we were way in over our heads. And that's when we decided like, okay, let's take this seriously. So that's kind of like the whole first year of like Goalkeeper, and it's been that way ever since.
Yeah, well, I think if you start with a foundation that isn't fully, built off of, hey, we're committed, we have to do this. I think because you put too much pressure on yourself. So I think starting out with, hey, let's just knock around and see what we can come up with and have some fun with this, and that's when you don't care what somebody says if you screwed something up, or if, hey, I don't like that lyric, maybe this one will work better. I think it's easier to come from that format instead of saying, hey, listen, here's our goal, like right off the bat.
And the thing too is when you're starting off in a band, like anytime a band comes up to me and says, yeah, like we're just starting out, like any advice, I always say like, you guys need to just kind of figure out like who your band is, like whatever your band name is, like who are you guys? What do you want to be? What are some of your short-term and long-term goals? What are the roles you're going to play in the band? Because one person can't do everything. And that's like what we did as a band. Like Ryan is the best social media guy because that's his job too. Like he runs like social media sites and everything for businesses. So we automatically knew that he would run social media, and I'm the business guy. Like I love music business. I'm a nerd and could talk about it for hours. And so they knew like, okay, Mark's going to handle all business and booking and all that stuff. And then Cody, he's actually a phenomenal songwriter, which is always funny. Like the drummer brings most of our songs to practice and everything. And he's also really good at keeping up with the trends. And specifically Twitter, like that's its own thing, Twitter.
It's its own world.
Yeah. And sorry that beep. As the band's like talking to me.
Yeah. Like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm trying to mute it because I have my. Hold on, let me see if I put my AirPods in. All right, there we go. Cool. That way you won't hear the ding from the band texting me.
Okay.
Probably something stupid. But anyway, yeah. So like we always say, like separate your roles and like really understand, like who's gonna do what, so that person can grow in that role. If I was trying to be the best business person I could be in the band, but I was like being tied down with having to learn social media, I'm not going to understand the business side of things as well because I can't actually dedicate enough of my time to do it.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing too is like the foundation of starting as friends really helped. Like even to this day, none of us, as weird as it is, like none of us have ever been in a band where we could like call up a band member and be like, yo, let's just hang out. It was always just like, we're in a band because all of us collectively want to be in a band. Mm-hmm. And that's like the only job. And outside of that, like we have our own lives. This was the first time all three of us were in a band where we could say like, yo, dude, you want to just chill and do something? Yeah, let's go, which makes touring so easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so that's kind of, how it started. Plus we also were very like honest with ourselves, like every few months, like 3 to 4 months, to this day, we still like check in and make sure like, is everyone happy? Where do people like, like Rye, you good? Mark, you good? Cody, you good? Like, where do we need to improve? Where do we need to maybe take a step back a little bit? Because no matter what, then we're always on the same page. And a lot of bands, like you might get 2 members like, yeah, man, we're going to record a record. We're going to go on tour. We're going to go cross country. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then like the other band members are like, yeah, that's not my plan, but they just keep bringing it up. So I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And I'm like, well, that's not good because like the foundation of your band's already disagreeing. So, but that was something we were taught by like our peers who were in bands and successful too. So forever grateful for that advice.
Well, you get to see other people's mistakes and learn from them. And I mean, friendship, is a huge proponent of creating great music too. I mean, if you're all happy about what you're doing, I mean, how can it not come through in the music?
Exactly. Yeah. And then it also helps too, because then you feel safe to like challenge yourself and try new things. And because we're always on the same page and we've talked and we've like grown together, um, we feel like the successes that we've accomplished and have gotten to have felt really good for as like, as a band. Like the first time we got to open up like a tour package in Philly, and play like a real venue, like a big venue, like Live Nation or whatever. There was such like a feeling of euphoria amongst the band, because it's like, wow, like we together, always on the same page, worked as hard as we could to get to this point. And if anything, our friendship has only gotten stronger instead of like deteriorated, like a lot of like, people around us, in the same situation. So, yeah, so that's why it's like the way we started, I feel really like helped, continue with that. And even to this day, like I was on the phone with Ryan yesterday for like 2.5 hours talking about nothing. Just because.
Well, I mean, for you guys to keep that feeling alive and to have that foundation you had, I mean, because you guys literally hit the ground running like right away, and came up with some great songs with great hooks, and were opening for people and playing shows. And I mean, that probably has to go into your mind too. At like in a short period of time, look what we accomplished and how much effort did we put into what we were doing before, and not achieve as much as we already have. Like that should just send off that you've figured out the formula.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and there's still, and the one thing we always say to ourselves, is we haven't done shit yet. So just because we got to open up a couple cool tours, like tour packages in Philly or this and that, like don't walk around like you're big cheese. We still have a lot of goals that we want to accomplish and get to the point where we can say like, this is our job, or just not even that, just like where we're at, like we feel like we've fulfilled where we want to go with the band,
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, the first 2 years we were just dicking around kind of like, and that's kind of like when we started to get some of the opportunities, we were like, and we played them and we kind of like messed up pretty bad. Like I always tell this story and I feel bad, but sorry, Rye, I have to throw you under the bus again. We opened up for Free Throw and Home Safe in Philly back in that tour in like 2017. That was really rad.
Yeah.
And like we were like, we got the offer and we're like, we're a joke band who wears like Hawaiian shirts because we think it's funny. And they're like, who cares? Can you bring people? And we did. We brought like 40, 50 people, which is like insane. Especially because we announced it like a week and a half before, because that's when we got added. But we didn't even have enough songs to play a set. We had 4 originals and like 2 of them had it. Like, and we had to do like 2 covers. And we were covering a Wonder Years song, This Party Sucks. And like, yeah, let's play it. People are going to love it. And for some reason, man, Ryan just choked on the lyrics, like hard choke. Like the whole first verse was just like, he's looking at us like on stage, like, I don't know.
Like Diamond David Lee Roth when he got back with Van Halen to do a reunion tour and forgot every fucking lyric.
Exactly. Like pretty much like that's going to be the story that Ryan tells. Like if he's like 20 years down the line, like successful musician, he's like, yeah, but let me tell you about some of my hardships. But what made it worse was as he was forgetting the lyrics, we looked up and right making eye contact with Ryan was Josh from the Wonder Years the day before. And then we're like, fuck. And then we turned to we all kind of collectively turned to the right just to look at the bass player, Ian from Modern Baseball, just giving us the biggest like cringe face. Like, yo, you guys fucked up. And everyone here hears it. And then we played like a festival, the Four Chord Music Festival with our friend Rishi, who puts it on, was gracious enough to add us. But again, it was another here's this giant show that we were just not ready to play. And so like that, like first like 2 years, like year and a half, 2 years, we're like, all right, if we're going to get these opportunities and we want to take them, like we have to like sit our asses down, write catchy songs, and like learn our instruments like a lot better than we're doing now, because these are like two back-to-back huge opportunities that we look like we should just go home, you know? And so like when people say like you guys hit the ground running, like that was the moment that we said like, okay, now we're going to put our serious pants on and, you know, and go to the certain producers and work on our songwriting and practice and, you know, learn how we can actually make a 3-piece sound big live without using like backing tracks and shit like that. And seems to be working.
Yeah, I mean, you know, my big thing is when I listen to a song, because nowadays that's how things happen. It's like a song pops up and you listen to it or you find something. My big go-to is Bandcamp, and just searching out, seeking stuff, and I listen to a full song. I don't do a 30-second split because it's, you know, I feel bad for so many bands who, you know, maybe the first 30 seconds doesn't catch people and they just check out, and people miss out on something great. But I dove into and listened to everything that I could find that you ever recorded. And I was like, I was all in. I was like, okay, great. Music is alive. They know what they're doing. And to hear the story about how it started like that, and to have two things go wrong, and you say, all right, if we're really going to do this, we have to do this correctly. I mean, a lot of people would just give up at that point and be like, all right, it didn't fucking work. And, you know, and I think that's what happens to a lot of people is they just, those two experiences just shut them down. And
we almost did too. Like after that 4-chord fest, like me and Ryan and even Cody had some feelings too. Like, and then I, like in my head, I was like, we're going to get home from Pittsburgh and then I'm going to have a band meeting next week where I'm going to say like, yo, like, this band is done, or we're never playing a venue that's like not a Philly basement show where we can just get really drunk and no one cares, you know? Yeah. What actually happened, which is like, you know, we decided like after this situation, so Kevin Mahoney, the guitar player of Hit the Lights, and he's bassist of the band Joywave now. So they played that same festival, and anyone who's gone to 4-chord knows that they're kind of like, you know, a regular on that fest. And he came up to us and was like, hey guys, I know your band. That set was awful, but I think you guys have a lot to offer this world musically, so don't give up. And like walked away. And Hit the Lights for us is like an idol band. We're like, did the guitar player who seriously wrote like Drop the Girl and like fucked up kids and everything just come up to us and say don't give up? And we just played like the worst set of our lives. And that was like really what went into the conversation. And like then flash forward, you know, 7 months later, he ended up producing Bad Times Don't Last for us. And he's been our producer for everything we've done ever since. You know, Bad Times Don't Last, Life in Slow Motion, and he produced our full length that we finished up in December. So we credit him a lot with, you know, lighting the fire under our ass to be, instead of just giving up and throwing the towel, saying like, okay, we do have something to offer, but we just have to be a better band first, you know, if we really want to see that.
Yeah. And the fact that you took it, I mean, the way you should, and, you know, I go to tons of shows, and one of my points that I make to people is, you know, I don't do the regular, hey, great set, man, and then walk away. I'll be like, hey, dude, those first 3 songs were fucking killer. That 4th one, I think maybe needs a little work, but you're fucking great, and like it's there for you. Don't give up. Like, but it's all dependent on the person that you're giving it to, how they take it. And you guys took it as, hey, you know, he said there's something there, even though he told us it was a terrible set. But you know, you take it as you will, and you create your own thing.
Just 1 second, sorry. I'm at home, and the mailman decided to grace us with his presence, and my dog is like, he's gonna kill him.
Well, the big thing with dogs and mailmen, and I have dogs. Well, I now have a dog, but they think they're doing their job because they go crazy and then the mailman actually does go away. So they're like, oh, I did my job.
Yep. My wife tells me that all the time because he barks a lot at like tractor trailers, like when we're driving places and stuff, because he just doesn't like anything big and loud. And it's always reinforced every time they drive past us and he's barking. Yeah, like you said, it's reinforcing. Like, oh, I worked, I barked, and they left. I'm like,
yeah,
God, dog. But him and our mailman have a very every time the mailman walks by, he's like, Scrappy Doo's still there, isn't he? I'm like, yeah. Sorry.
My mailman was pretty nice. He used to, when he would drop packages off at the door, leave like dog bones. And I was like,
oh, nice.
That's cool, man. She's still going to bite you, but that's cool.
Yeah. Our mailman's great too. He's super nice. It's just always funny because like I see him out the window and I tried to mute it in time and I just missed it. But every time you can just see him kind of smirk when the dog barks, and I'm like, I don't know if you're getting some sick pleasure out of this and doing it.
He's doing it on purpose now.
Yeah. But going back to your thing, dude, it sounds like a cliche, but I always say too, like, we're from Philly, man. Like we're used to just people like shit. Like if you don't like Philadelphia is one of the cities that will go out of their way to tell you that you suck. You know?
I mean, threw snowballs at Santa Claus. So, I mean.
Well, exactly. And like there was a dog who missed a Frisbee at an Eagles game. Like he was the halftime talent. And they threw a Frisbee and the dog dropped it. And the entire 68,000 person stadium booed the dog. Like there was no, oh, he tried. It was like, no, fuck that dog. He sucks. He's Jalen Reagor, like all over again. Yeah. But like in Philly, like you could play a show and someone will come up to and you could suck and someone will be like, dude, like you're irrelevant. Go away. Like you suck. And you're like, oh shit, that like hurts. Whereas like, you know, we've toured and we played a lot of East Coast and, you know, we dipped into the East Coast and we dipped into the Midwest, and a lot of other cities, if they don't like you, they just stand there and stare at you and don't buy anything, or they just walk away, you know, like,
which is almost worse.
It depends. Like, depends on how you're feeling. You hear my big dog walking around too. Yeah. He just got out of the vet.
Sounds like he's typing away. He's writing a song for you.
We have hardwood floors, and he just got out of the vet for a couple of days. So he's like super like, I want to walk around.
He's amped.
Yeah. But yeah, so like, I feel like it depends. Like if you have a really bad show and you know about it, sometimes you don't want the person to come up to you and be like, yo, you sucked. You're like, I already know I suck. Like I don't need you to remind me. Thank you. But like, so sometimes like the walking away is kind of like, yeah, it makes sense. I'd leave too. Like I feel you. And you can like joke about it, but like, yeah, people in Philly will come up to you and be like, yeah, that was awful. You should quit. You're like, thanks, pal. Or now my mission is just to prove you wrong.
Yeah, you get your thick skin. I mean, you gotta learn it. You know, it's a I guess a Philly induction ceremony. I mean, I'm from Jersey, outside of New York City, so it's, you know, there's
get it. Jersey's the same way.
Yeah, I mean, there's no better friend than the one who shits on you the most, which is like my whole group of friends.
Well, and like. So yeah, usually, like when we were recording as well, and like he is straight up South Jersey, Philadelphia. Like I'm going to insult the shit out of you if something sucks. And I remember like I brought in like a guitar lead, and I was like, "Yo, like, what do you think about this?" He's like, "Man, that makes me wish I had Omicron." Like I was like, dope. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go away now. And I remember one time when Cody was tracking drums, like Nick like checked in and he's just like, it just doesn't sound like you know how to play drums. You could like figure that out while we're in the studio. That'd be great, bud. Thanks. And Cody's just like, are you kidding? Like he's like, are you really? Like that's what you're gonna say to me? I'm like struggling with this fill. I'm trying to be really technical and increase myself as a drummer, and you're just saying I don't sound like I know what I'm doing here. And Nick's like, yeah, so if you could just figure it out, that'd be great. Thanks, asshole. You know, but then yeah, so it builds your tough skin. So when you end up when you have a bad show or someone comes up to you and says like that sucked, it's just like, yeah, man, well, kind of grew up with that mentality. Like, you don't just sit there and cry about it. You just figure out how you can do better next time.
Well, I mean, it's starting to show. You got some shows booked coming up, which is awesome. So if you were to meet a stranger and you told them you were in a band and the name of the band was Goalkeeper, what song of yours would you play for them?
I think the on the nose song would be like Sunshine, just because I think that like we want to be a big band. Like, we're not shy with telling people like we want to be big, we want to sell out the biggest venues we possibly can and sell as many records as we can. So I think Sunshine is really, and like Happy are like really those two songs that show like, hey, we're trying to be like in the mainstream here, without being something we're not. Like,
Yeah.
that's why Blink-182 is such an influence to us, because from the start of their band, they wanted to be big. Like, they never just said like, oh, we want to be DIY punk band. If we grow big, cool, but that's not our goal. Like, they're like, no, we want to sell 50 million records, but we want to do it with the songs that we want to write, you know? And so I think like Sunshine or Happy would be the two songs that I like show someone and say like, here, this is essentially Goalkeeper in a nutshell.
Awesome. Now, when did music become something for you? Like, do you have a first musical memory, like the first time you heard music? Like, there's two pivotal points. There's the first time you hear music, and then the first time you find your way in music, which is finding your own type of music.
Yeah. So music, my family, believe it or not, like wasn't very musical. Like, we're a sports family. My parents are super cool where like whatever you're into, they would promote, like, go for it. When I wanted to play football and I was a big lacrosse player that's actually, I thought I was going to go on to be like a lacrosse player, go to college for it, like the whole nine. But like middle school, my cousin, his family was more musical, so he started playing guitar. So inevitably, hanging out with him all the time, like, Mom, I want a guitar because my cousin has one. And I remember hating it because my guitar teacher, who was like basically my older cousin, like his brother, was just teaching me like classic rock stuff, which is cool. I mean, I love classic rock. Like, CCR is probably one of my favorite bands. But it's
greatest
like
road music. I say CCR is the greatest road music.
Greatest road music. Yeah, absolutely. Especially summertime, driving through like windy, like back roads. Absolutely. But I was getting bored. Like, I don't like Free Falling and Tom Petty is phenomenal, but like I don't want to play this. And I started to get frustrated with that. I couldn't learn the theory. Like, well, why does this D and G chord go together? It's like, I don't know. It just does. It's like, well, this sucks. So I just put it down. And then in 8th grade, an old friend of mine showed me the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and that like blew my mind. Like, I don't know. And to this day, they're my favorite band of all time. Like, what John Frusciante could do as a one guitar band, is like insane. That's why he has 5 giant pedal boards in front of him on stage there.
Yeah. Well, that's why he is the Chili Peppers. The Chili Pepper albums that he were on were good, great. Phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, Anthony Kiedis, as much as a legend as he is, he's the weak point of the band, in my opinion. Like in 2022, you listen to the world song Around the World and Back when he's like mimicking Asian language, and you're like, that's racist. Like, shit, bro. But anyway, like, so I remember that was what made me want to pick up the guitar again. And it was because like when I was playing originally, I didn't really know how to like, I only knew chords and it was kind of like boring, but the Chili Peppers really showed me how you can be like the one thing about them is if you take away Anthony Kiedis' vocals, the song is still great. And that's something because they're essentially a jam band. So you can just listen to them jam, which is why in their concerts they have so many pieces, like periods of just jamming. And you could just listen to it and vibe to it. And I was like, that's really cool because like I can't sing, but every time I play guitar, I hated being the guy with the friends over who'd be like, oh, you don't hear me play guitar, and I'm just playing like the G, C, and D chord. And I'm like, yeah, do you know anything else? But so like I kind of like started like picking up the guitar again around then, and that's like when you hit high school, of course, that's when you find like pop punk and punk rock, and like the first like small band I was introduced to, which is like my second favorite band of all time, is 4 Year Strong.
Okay.
So Rise or Die Trying record, which is great. And so I'll try to make this short because I definitely talked a lot. By midway through high school, I started to realize I kind of hated the team sport concept because, as I was saying earlier, I was playing lacrosse, but that was like I was playing year round. I was training. I went to Europe to play play on an all-star team. Like that was what I was going to do with my life, was play lacrosse. But I hated that on the weekends I would be at the field practicing and shooting, training and exercising. And then come Monday morning or come Monday at practice, the coach would be like, all right, we're not going to practice today. We're going to run 18 full field suicides because 5 of your teammates got busted for underage drinking. Yeah. And I'm like, well, why do I have to? I ran 18 full field suicides all weekend not drinking. You know, like, why do I not get to practice and get ready for the game because these assholes fucked up? You know? And so like junior year, I quit. I was like, fuck this. Like, I'm done. And then I started to like really see the value of music and the fact that like you don't need a band to be successful in music, like with so many like solo artists out there. But then also you get to be more selective with who you're working with. Like with teams, you know, you're just whoever shows up, shows up. You don't get to kick a member off the team unless you're the coach. But with a band, it's like, oh, well, this drummer's being an asshole. We can kick him out and find a new drummer, you know? And so I started to realize that there was a lot more creative freedom in that. And so ever since like senior year of high school, that's like, all right, I want to be in a band. And just, you know, you go through the cycles of shitty band after shitty band till you get to a slightly less shitty band.
What was the name of your first band?
Ragdoll Physics.
All right.
We were a cover band in high school that covered Smells Like Teen Spirit and Animal I've Become by Days Grace. That was as far as we got.
Was that like talent show stuff?
Yeah, it was. We covered those 2 songs, and then my buddy's dad. So my buddy played bass, and then he found this older guy to play drums who was like 30, and we were all like 17. And then like my friend who played bass, his dad played guitar and sang. So we did like one kind of like in a studio show, and we covered just like everyone kind of just covered a few songs, and we thought we were cool. And then, obviously not cool. But the first band, the band I was in right before Goalkeeper, like that actually, like I thought we were like good, but like, you know, you're kind of like at the young age, you're delusional as to like what's actually good and not. Like you're just, yeah. That was called First of Autumn. Real cool. So, yeah.
Well, so I mean, I know playing sports and everything, you're performing in front of people, you know, on a regular basis. But what was it like when you first performed, you know, on stage with music in front of people? I mean, hearing your story about how you didn't want to do it and then you wanted to do it, like, what was that like for you?
It's always nerve-wracking just because, like, I feel like with lacrosse, like with sports, that's like where the individualism with sports came in. Like if you just tried really, really hard, but your team got destroyed, everyone could say the team sucked, but like number 4 played really well. You know, like it was like even college scouts would see that, or pro scouts could see that. But and you're not really creating anything. You know, like half the people who are watching a sports game, you're not really like you're not really commenting on like the type of play that they're running. Like in football, when the Eagles got smoked against the Buccaneers, no one was saying like, why are they running like a power I trips right formation here? It was like, why are you running the ball when you should be passing, or vice versa?
Yeah.
But with music, it was much more nerve-wracking because it's like people are judging you on your melody, on your lyrics, on the band's playability, and like one, like, your drummer could be insanely good, but obviously if like your guitar and bass and vocalist suck, the band just sucks, you know. Or if the drummer's off time, then the whole band sounds off time, you know. So it was very nerve wracking, you know, to, you know, write lyrics with a band and like think you're pouring your heart and soul into it, and then you go up on stage and you're like, wait, are people going to think that these lyrics sound lame as shit? You know. And in your first couple of bands, they do, which I think is where like you kind of develop that thick skin, because you need to write a song that's called Skyline High, like my old band did. You know, so you could get to writing a song like Sunshine or Happy or Just Say It. You know, now I don't feel as nervous on stage because there's like an air of confidence, like we know we can do well. Now it's more of like excitement, like, ooh, I can't wait to get on stage, especially now with the pandemic. Like, shows been so far and few between, you know. It's more about just wanting to get on stage and play again, you know.
Yeah, no, and I mean, there's nothing that I felt worse about, honestly, like when it was musicians, when the pandemic hit and all the venues around that aren't around anymore, and just that, I mean, that's my drug of choice is live music. That's what I tell everybody. It's my drug of choice. That's where I get my highest of highs, is going to see live music. And every time I'd be excited to go to a show, and then it, even now still, like, you know, last weekend was supposed to see Motion City Soundtrack, and like for the second year in a row it's postponed, and I'm like, we were almost there. It got postponed the week before. Last time it was 2 months before. Time before that it was, you know, a year before. But like, now that it's still coming around, and I still don't know what to do. Like, it sucks also for fans when you go to buy a ticket and you're like, oh, I can't wait, like it's coming back, and then all of a sudden it's gone again. It's the worst.
Yeah, and that's like a big thing that promoters are talking about now too, because since so many people are waiting to buy tickets because they don't know if the show's actually going to happen. It's like really discouraging to the touring bands to see that their ticket sales are really low, because especially like a bigger band that's like on a Pure Noise or a you know, like Hopeless and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
When they announce a tour and they're playing like a 400 cap room, like they're hoping that, you know, they're really hoping that they can actually like, oh, we're going to play 400 cap room. We're announcing the tour. Like half the tickets sell in the first weekend. But then when they're getting numbers like you have 50 pre-sold, you have 50 tickets sold so far, you're like, oh my God. Like, is it even worth us going out? Like, are we going to play in front of no? Are we going to owe the venue money?
Yeah.
You know? And stuff like that. So, you know, it's definitely, from the consumer standpoint, it's very frustrating because you don't want your money tied up in tickets when you could be using that money to pay like bills and stuff like that, because you don't even know if the show is going to happen. But then it's like really nerve wracking for the bands because you're afraid, like, are people even going to show up? You know?
Yeah, no, and I mean, I've been to a lot of shows since everything kind of opened up in August, and then it started to shut down again. But it was really like, it was weird to see like some shows that I went to that I've already seen this artist. They sold out large venue, and now I'm going to see them again, and there's like no one there, and I'm like, man, this sucks for them. Like, this is terrible. And it is, it's people just being scared to tie up their money and something not happen and come through, and then it gets scheduled for a day that you can't go.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's just like, it just sucks, you know. But it's like, what are you going to do? You know,
Yeah.
you just try to, you just do the best you can.
Yeah, we're
That's
all
why, like,
figuring it out, you know.
yeah, exactly. That's why, like, if someone comes up to me and says, like, "Hey, man, like, I can't afford to go to your show. I've got bills," or like, "Oh, like, I might have COVID," or "I'm nervous about coming," I'm like, "All right, dude, like, whatever." Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like the same frustrations that you had before, like, as a band with people not like coming to a show or and stuff like that. Like, you can't have them anymore, you know, because like it's such a risk. If someone buys a ticket to your show, it's like, be honored that they're even sacrificing the $15,
Yeah.
you know, rather than waiting to make sure the show happens. I will say I am appreciating a lot of these talent buying companies like offering refunds again, like now, instead of just like making you have to hold on to your ticket, you know,
and wait.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of my friends, when like, excuse me, like these bigger companies weren't offering refunds and they were canceling every show. Like I had friends who had like several $100s worth of concert tickets, like, they have like money like tied up. I'm like, I really could use that right now, you know?
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that a lot of people are offering refunds now. And actually, like, we're doing a thing. So we were supposed to play with Piebald for like a holiday show in December, but Ryan actually got COVID, so we had to cancel. And because we weren't the headliner, all the people who bought tickets, which were like well over 100, they lost their money because we weren't the headliner, and that was like $30 some dollars, like almost $30 a ticket after fees.
Yeah.
So what we're doing, and like this Friday, or not this Friday, February 5th, we're doing a free South Jersey show. And then in April, which we haven't announced yet, we're doing a free hometown show. And it's like donation only. And it's time to like to give back to the people who like bought tickets and like couldn't get the money back. Like just show up, bring money for beer, maybe some merch if you want, and let's just go crazy. Like who cares?
Well, good on you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
well, you talked about earlier about your shitty shows that when you first started performing, but do you have a show that stands out to you so far, like that you guys played and you're like, that was the one, like that's what we're about, and that's as good as we are right now, and we're only going to get better? Do you have a show that comes to mind that you played like that so far?
Yeah, 3 come to mind actually. In that, so there's definitely been shows like we played in cities that have not been our hometown that have gone off that we felt like, holy shit, like we're touching people with our music, not in Philadelphia or South Jersey. This is awesome. But there were like 3 shows specifically that I feel like are just tied. It was our holiday show in 2019. We headlined it, and we didn't like, usually our previous holiday shows we kind of had like an EP with it or something. This was just like it's just a tradition. And like 150 people showed up, which like for us is like, holy shit, it's a lot of people,
Yeah.
And they went insane. Like Brian didn't have to sing lyrics for half the songs because they were so loud, and they were moshing and they were crowd surfing, they were stage diving, like everything you hope your band could achieve as like a punk band was happening like right there. And then our last show before we played the pandemic, I'm sorry, played the pandemic. Yeah, right. We all played the pandemic. Our last show before the pandemic, we opened up the Sleep On It Bearings Between You and Me show in Philly. And that was the first time that, so I'm just going to be like straight up with it. When we were opening up these bigger shows for Live Nation, because every local band will say they can sell 100 tickets to a show if they get added. Like they wanted us to kind of like prove it and like, pre-sale tickets to these shows and stuff. And so we did with no problem, because like we'll earn our keep. We'll prove to you that we can bring in this many people and they actually show up. And so we did like 4 or 5 of those shows, and and everyone showed up, so like they were always happy. So Sleep On It was the first show that Live Nation offered us and said, you guys can play and we don't need you to pre-sale tickets because we trust you. And we're like, that's awesome, because this is a big deal for us. It's a big deal show. And the show still sold out. We still brought all the people, and we opened up the show and the crowd went absolutely insane. Like they were screaming our words back at us, moshing, crowd surfing, the whole 9. And like, it felt really good because like the 3 headliners came up to us afterwards and were like, that was absolutely insane. Like that was awesome, and even like the Bearing singer Dougie like asked for a t-shirt from us. Like we were like, oh my God.
That's awesome.
And then the last one, it was our first Philly show back in last July. And we did a Grape Room show in Manayunk. Great venue for anyone who's looking to play shows or go see shows. And we were really nervous because we released Life in Slow Motion, but at that point, it's been about 1.5 years since we played. We were seeing some of our numbers and our interactions online like going down. So as a band, you get in your head and you're thinking, holy shit, no one cares about us anymore. You know, like the pandemic, we're going to be another like pandemic band that like had some heat, but then the pandemic hit and we lost all of it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden the show sold out. And by the time we got on stage, like on the stage we played last, almost 200 kids shoved in that bar going, and all of the new songs, like knowing every single word, moshing, crowd surfing, singing so loud again that Ryan had to back up from the microphone and just let the crowd sing. And even the sound guy was like, I'm going to need you guys to play 2 more songs because we've never had this type of show here.
That's awesome.
What
a feeling.
Even the venue owner came out afterwards when he like gave us money like to pay us. He's like, you guys can come back whenever you want, please, because we've never had a show like that ever. And so it was like our first show back from the pandemic, feeling like we're being forgotten about and like all this stuff. And just to see like that's like very much not the case. And everyone showed up in like full force. And
you made music that meant something to someone, and that's the goal.
Yeah. And we intend to keep it. Ha. But yeah, so those again, sorry for like dragging it out, but those are the 3 shows that really stick out, especially the one in July, because I think a lot of bands really are in their head like, are they going to be able to come out of this pandemic and go back and playing shows again, and people are going to want to see them, you know? And the fact that like all of our friends and family and new fans, like people we've never even met before, you know, came out, were like, you were playing a show in your hometown and we wanted to see what it's all about. Actually, there's these 3 guys. They walked past the bar and they looked in the door and they saw how crazy the place was going. And the door guy let them in. And they came up to us after the show. They're like, we didn't expect to be like walking down the street, see a really cool punk show and end up, you know, crowd surfing and moshing. But you guys rule and you have 3 new fans for life. And we're like, fuck yeah, dude. That's awesome.
That's all it takes, man. And that's good on you guys and for doing what you're doing. And I know that hopelessness feeling of getting back and being like, were we forgotten? And to just be like, no, you weren't, assholes. Like you guys are part of us, you know, and that's what people do with music. They take ownership over it and you're part of their life and they're never going away.
There's one more show I want to mention. I'll make it quick. We played Richmond on our most recent tour in November, and 3 people showed up total. Like, that's it. And 2 of them sat at a table in the back to watch us. And this one kid drove 3 hours by himself and bought 3 T-shirts because he loved us and wanted to see us. And we're like, well, there's one person here. Let's just go crazy like we're at band practice. Like, who cares? And that kid was like in there with us, jumping around, going crazy, singing in the microphone. Like, it wasn't even like we were playing a show. It was like we were at band practice and one of our friends showed up and we were just fucking around type deal. And, you know, we left there being like, yo, that was really fun. But like, it did suck to play in front of 3 people,
yeah.
You know? The next day, Baltimore, the show sold out. And it wasn't, we didn't sell it out, obviously, like the locals brought all the people and stuff. That same kid showed up with 3 of his friends and drove 4 hours from Virginia to Baltimore to come see us. And all of them bought merch and went crazy and crowd surfed and moshed in the Baltimore show. And so that Richmond show really sticks out because it goes to show that, like, it doesn't matter if you're playing in front of 1 person or like 1,000 people. Like, just have fun, and that's going to resonate. With and that person really felt that like we cared that he showed up, and he made a mission to drive 4 hours the next day to see us again with his friends.
Yeah, with other people saying you have to see this, you know, and that's what it is.
It's worth the road trip to go see this band.
Yeah, I mean, and that's amazing. I mean, and also for that kid, it's like he had his own private show of one of his favorite bands. I mean, does it get better?
Yeah, right. I mean, like, and we still played well. We were actually really stoked with how well we played, you know. So we were kind of like, oh man, it would have been cool if other people were here. But you know what? Again, we just say it doesn't matter, you know. Even the two people who were just sitting down watching us, who were fans of ours, and they really had a great time too. You know, they still made it a point to come and see us, you know. And yeah, the kid who was going crazy was like, I don't give a shit if I'm the only person here. I'm going to go crazy because I love you guys. And so it's like, you know, when you really appreciate what your fans and your supporters like do for you, it just makes you. It's just like, okay, like we meant something to this kid where he could have like showed up and left, like, oh, no one's here. This is weird, you know. But for him to make us feel great, going nuts by himself, you know, and then to show up the next day with three of his friends is like, okay, like that meant something really cool in this band.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you remember your first concert you ever saw?
Red Hot Chili Peppers with the Mars Volta in October of 2006.
Wow.
And I got high for the first time.
Just by watching the Mars Volta?
Fuck that band, dude. They sucked. They're so bad. No, the people next to us like snuck weed into the stadium. Like, you want to smoke? I'm like, I'm 15 and cool. Yeah. Didn't even know how to do it. You know what I mean? You know, before COVID times where you could take a fucking joint from a stranger and it's not weird. But yeah, so like that was like my first ever show. And of course, like for me, that's like, and believe it or not, that wasn't the show that made me realize I wanted to play pop punk. It was actually All Time Low, We the Kings, Every Avenue, Friday Night Boys, Glamour Kills tour in like 2009, 10, like that year. They played Philly, and I liked pop punk, but I liked the heavier stuff, really technical and like super like just challenging to play, you know.
Yeah.
But I was never really good at it, and it never really felt right to try to like rip off like a 4 strong riff and shit. And I saw, you know, All Time Low play, and they had this same. I mean, I know they're like under, you know, hot water right now because of everything with Jack, so I'm not discrediting that, of course. But just for that experience back in like 2010, you know, they had so much heaviness to their instruments and to their live sound, but they played as simple as Blink-182. And I'm like, oh, that's what I want to do. Like that simple music, but it's heavy. So that's my mission. But
Awesome. So I don't want to keep you very long. I'm going to come in with a last couple questions for you. It's nowhere in midday right now. So here's one. If the world was about to end, get hit by a meteor, you have 5 minutes left to live, what song do you listen to?
It would probably be. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up because I'm just blanking on the name right now. 1 second. With my wife and my dogs, of course. Yeah. Have you ever seen the rain? would
Nice.
probably be the song. Yeah.
Nice. What do you listen to that someone would be surprised you listen to, considering you're in a pop punk band?
So I will credit Ryan for this because he really opened my eyes to it. A lot of old country, like one of my favorite older country artists is Conway Twitty. And like kind of like that type of country, so like Midland, Conway Twitty, Alan Jackson, you know, that shit, you know, very Western, heartfelt, you know, stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of doo-wop, you know, 40s, 50s music, you know.
Respectable. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you just watch, what's the movie called? Obviously not American History X. It's based in the 50s. And it's like an Americana movie. I'm trying to think of the name.
American Graffiti?
Yes, thank you. Yep, that one. So any like that soundtrack essentially. It's like from the 50s to like 30s. So I do listen to a lot of that stuff. I believe it or not, I actually don't really listen to too much pop punk anymore. I guess maybe it gets like a certain like I hear a lot of the new stuff. Like some of my favorite new bands, like newer bands, is like Between You and Me and Bearings. There's a really cool like rock band from New York called Proper. They just opened up for the Wonder Years on their like holiday tour. They're really good. Stuff like that. Seaway's always one of my favorites, but recently I've actually been listening a lot to like Menzingers and like Eye in the Avalanche and like that type of like fest bands per se.
Yeah. I just saw Menzingers twice within 1 month. So
were you at the Underground Arts show in Philly?
No, I was at Paysan Rouge in New York City, and then in Garwood at Crossroads.
Crossroads, nice. Yeah. But yeah, so as far as the surprising music, like old country music and like 40s and 50s, like Americana, like doo-wop, stuff like that.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for being here. Give you the opportunity right now to tell everybody how to find everything that Goalkeeper's doing, that you guys are doing.
Yeah.
All your handles and shit.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, Ryan's really good at it. So at Goalkeeper Band, done. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the whole nine. We have some shows planned that people like in February that we already announced, but we have a bunch of shows coming up that we're working on completing and getting ready to announce. Like we have a Northeast Weekender in March. We have a 2-week tour from Southeast to the Midwest in April. Another weekender in May, a week, and then June and July. So a bunch of shows we're going to announce, pretty much everything from East Coast to Midwest. And our record is about to start getting mixed, so expect the new Goalkeeper full length by August, September time, most likely, if everything goes according to plan, and hopefully a new single as early as mid-June, early July.
Awesome. Well, we find ourselves in the last segment of the show, and it's our weekly threes. So if you'd like to give out 3 things you're listening to right now, that would be awesome.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so I'm going to start off on with the band Proper. They actually just released their new song, Milk and Honey, so go check that out. That is awesome. Huge fan of what Youth Fountain is doing recently, especially with his new record, Keepsakes and Reminders.
Oh my God. We have the same. Look at us. I have it on my threes this week too.
Yeah, but it's so good. He's so talented, and
yeah, Tyler's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and I personally, and again, no shit on to Cody, with him going to like Real Friends, but I think Tyler being the main person entirely now, I feel like Youth Fountain became a stronger band musically too. And so so them, and so some of our best friends, and they're absolutely killing it, and they just announced a tour with Point North, our buddies in Sharia Moore.
Okay.
Yeah, they just signed to Equal Vision Records, finished working on like a full length, and they just announced they're doing like a 2 weeks with Point North on that headliner they just announced.
Awesome. So my 3 for this week, we already all know one, and that's Youth Fountain, Keepsakes and Reminders. We didn't plan this beforehand, just so everyone knows. Mine are written down well in advance. So that was pretty, I think that's the first time it's happened. That's pretty awesome.
Hell yeah.
Next is Jet Black Alley Cat. They're a Nashville-based like pop alt rock band.
I booked them at Connie's Rick Rack like 4 years ago, and 2 people showed up to that show. Yep, they were so nice about it too. I still paid them, and everything was great, but they're popping off, and I'm like, I literally saw you play in front of like no one.
Yeah.
On a Tuesday in Philly.
And last but not least, a band called Eastwood. Some people may know an individual in the band, Cole Crutchfield, as a guitarist of Knocked Loose. But band Eastwood out of Kentucky, they are just hard. I mean, it's hard to explain. They're like rock and roll, emo aggressive, like the aggression behind it. It's just fucking awesome. So check out Eastwood.
Hell yeah. I'm going to do that myself.
But those are my 3 for this week. Mark, thank you so much for being here. This has been awesome. Appreciate what you're doing. Really excited for the new album. Can't wait to get out and see you when you come over here up to the Northeast and play some shows. I might even travel down south to see you. So,
hell yeah, awesome, dude. Thank you so much. This is great. I love anytime someone wants to take their time to talk with us. We feel so honored. So I do appreciate it.
Well, you guys deserve it. You're doing great things. Your music's fucking awesome, and I'm happy to have you here. So we wish you all the best and for greater things to come.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Well, everybody know what to do now. Go out, listen to Goalkeeper, and have a great fucking time.
We're getting stuck in the same old story. We know the end and it's getting boring. I won't let this end badly. I just want you to be happy. Tell me how we went from feeling only happiness to feeling like there's nothing left. I can't read you, but what's new? You disconnect everything from your heart and gotta feel this is permanent. Thought this through kills me too. We're getting stuck in the same old story. We know the end and it's getting boring. I won't let this end badly. I just want you to be happy. Take a breath. This is for the best. It's unfortunate. I need you, but it's true. Let's face the facts and get relaxed. Gave ourselves a heart attack. It's a shame we can't go back. Found ourselves in what we lacked. We're getting stuck in the same old story. We know the end and it's getting boring. I won't let this end badly. I just want you to be happy. Hold on to what we've been through. I won't make this about me. I just want you to be happy. Remember all the times we had. Moving on, we can't turn back. Let this go and fade to black. Found ourselves in what we lacked. Remember all the times we had. Moving on, we can't turn back. Let this go and fade to black. Found ourselves in what we lacked. We're getting stuck in the same old story. We know the end and it's getting boring. I won't let this end badly. I just want you to be happy. Hold on to what we've been through. I won't make this about me. I just want you to be happy. I won't let this end badly. I just want you to be happy.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.